What if your budget is secretly destroying your financial future? Sounds shocking, but most people never realize this painful truth. You think you're saving money, but something keeps going wrong. Every month ends with confusion, stress, and unexpected financial pressure. You promise yourself this time will be different, but it isn't. The cycle repeats, and slowly your confidence begins to fade. Have you ever wondered why budgeting feels harder than it should? It's not because you're bad with money, not at all. The real problem lies in mistakes nobody ever teaches you. These mistakes silently sabotage your plans without you noticing anything. Imagine working hard, yet always feeling financially stuck and frustrated. That feeling isn't random. It's caused by hidden budgeting errors that seem small but create massive long-term consequences. Most people ignore them until it's already too late. But today, you're about to see things differently. And think about your last budget plan for a moment. Did it actually work the way you expected it to? Or did reality quickly destroy your carefully planned numbers? That gap between plan and reality reveals something important. It exposes the mistakes hiding beneath your financial habits. And those mistakes are more common than you think. Almost everyone makes them without even realizing their impact. That's why so many people struggle despite earning decent money. Income isn't always the problem. Your system often is. A broken system leads to broken financial outcomes every time. But here's the good news you need right now. Once you identify these mistakes, everything starts changing quickly. You begin to regain control over your financial decisions. Confidence replaces confusion, and clarity replaces constant stress. But first, you must face an uncomfortable reality honestly. Budgeting mistakes are not obvious. They're incredibly deceptive. They disguise themselves as smart decisions and harmless habits. That's what makes them so dangerous and hard to catch. You might even be repeating them every single month without realizing you could be sabotaging your own progress. Think about how frustrating that realization can actually feel. You're trying your best, yet results never match your effort. That disconnect slowly drains your motivation and financial discipline. Eventually, many people give up on budgeting completely. They assume it simply doesn't work for them. But the truth is, budgeting always works when done right. It's the mistakes that create the illusion of failure. And today, you're going to uncover those hidden traps, not just understand them, but learn how to avoid them. Because awareness is the first step toward financial transformation. Once you see the problem, you can finally fix it. Imagine a life where your money actually listens to you, where every decision feels intentional and fully under control. That level of clarity is closer than you think, but only if you're willing to look deeper today. And this journey starts with questioning everything you currently believe, especially the habits you thought were helping your finances grow, because some of them might be silently hurting you instead. Are you ready to uncover the truth behind your budget? Let's dive deeper and expose what's really holding you back. Tell me part 2 when you're ready to continue. Let's step inside a real story you might recognize immediately. Meet someone who earns well but always feels financially stuck. Every month begins with hope, planning, and strong financial intentions. A fresh budget is created with careful thought and optimism. Numbers look perfect on paper, balanced, clean, and completely controlled. But within days, reality starts quietly breaking that perfect plan. Unexpected expenses appear, small at first, then quickly overwhelming. A dinner here, a subscription there. Nothing seems too serious, yet these tiny decisions slowly destroy the entire financial structure. By mid-month, stress begins replacing the initial sense of confidence. The budget starts feeling restrictive instead of helpful and empowering. So adjustments are made, often emotional rather than logical ones. Some categories are ignored, others are stretched beyond limits. Eventually, tracking stops because it feels pointless and exhausting. By the end, there's confusion about where all the money went. Does this situation feel familiar to your own experience? If yes, you're not alone in this frustrating pattern. One major mistake is creating unrealistic expectations from the start. People often underestimate expenses and overestimate their financial discipline. They plan for perfection, but life rarely follows perfect scripts. Another common error is ignoring irregular and hidden expenses. Things like repairs, gifts, or emergencies get completely overlooked. Then when they appear, the budget collapses instantly. It's like building a house without preparing for storms. Sooner or later, the structure simply cannot survive pressure. Another dangerous mistake is tracking money inconsistently or not at all. Without tracking, your budget becomes a blind financial experiment. You assume control, but in reality, you're just guessing everything. And guessing with money often leads to costly consequences. Emotional spending is another silent enemy hiding in plain sight. Stress, boredom, or celebration can easily override logical decisions. In those moments, your budget feels less important than feelings. That's when discipline quietly disappears and regret Regret soon follows. Then comes the blame, usually directed toward the budgeting system. But the real issue lies deeper than just numbers. It's about habits, mindset, and understanding your true behavior patterns. Many people also forget to review and adjust regularly. They treat budgets as fixed plans instead of flexible tools. But life constantly changes, and your budget must adapt accordingly. Otherwise, it becomes outdated and completely ineffective over time. Another overlooked mistake is not setting clear financial priorities. Without priorities, every expense feels equally important and justified. That leads to overspending in areas that don't truly matter. Meanwhile, important goals remain delayed or completely ignored. Over time, this creates frustration and a sense of stagnation. The worst part is, most people don't recognize these patterns. They repeat them every month, expecting somehow different results. But awareness changes everything, and now you're beginning to understand why budgets fail despite good intentions. And more importantly, you're realizing it's not about lack of effort. It's about avoiding these hidden mistakes before they take control. Because once you fix these, everything starts aligning naturally. Your budget becomes easier, smarter, and actually works for you. But there's a deeper truth most people never discover, and the truth will completely change how you see budgeting forever. Say part 3 when you're ready for the twist. What if budgeting isn't failing you, but you're approaching it wrong? This might sound uncomfortable, but it's the truth most ignored. Budgeting isn't about controlling money. It's about understanding yourself deeply. Most people treat budgets like strict rules instead of flexible systems. That's where everything quietly starts going in the wrong direction. You don't fail budgets. Rigid budgets fail real human behavior because humans are emotional, unpredictable, and constantly influenced by life. Yet most budgeting advice ignores this fundamental human reality completely. It assumes you'll always act logically, consistently, and perfectly disciplined. But that's simply not how real life actually works. Think about your own spending habits for a moment. Are they always logical or sometimes driven by emotions? Maybe stress made you spend more than you planned recently, or maybe excitement pushed you into an unnecessary purchase decision. That's not weakness, it's normal human psychology at play. Here's the twist most people never realize early enough. A successful budget works with your behavior, not against it. Instead of forcing restriction, it allows control, flexibility, and freedom. It plans for imperfections instead of pretending they won't happen. That single shift changes everything about how budgeting feels. Suddenly, it's no longer stressful or exhausting to maintain consistency. It becomes something that supports you rather than punishes mistakes. Another powerful insight is that awareness beats strict control every time. Knowing where money goes matters more than controlling every rupee tightly, because awareness naturally leads to smarter and more conscious decisions. Control without awareness often creates rebellion and hidden overspending habits. That's why strict budgets usually fail after a short period. They feel like restrictions, and humans naturally resist restrictions over time, but flexible systems feel empowering and easier to sustain long term. Another shift is focusing on direction, not perfection in budgeting. You don't need perfect numbers. You need a consistent financial direction. Small improvements over time create massive long-term financial changes. Yet most people quit because they can't maintain unrealistic perfection. They see small failures and assume the entire system is broken. But failure is part of the process, not the end. Every mistake teaches something valuable about your financial behavior patterns. If you pay attention, those lessons become powerful tools. That's how experienced people build strong, reliable budgeting systems. They adapt, learn, and refine instead of quitting completely. This mindset shift is where real transformation actually begins. Budgeting becomes less about numbers and more about self-awareness. It becomes a tool for growth, not just financial restriction. You stop fighting your habits and start working with them intelligently. That's when real lasting progress finally becomes possible. Imagine feeling in control without feeling constantly restricted or stressed. That's the power of approaching budgeting the right way. But understanding this is only part of the journey. The real question is, what will you do next? Because knowledge without action changes absolutely nothing in your life. You now see the problem and understand the deeper truth. But transformation only happens when you apply these insights consistently. That's where most people stop and nothing truly changes. But you don't have to be like most people anymore. You can choose a different path starting from this moment. And that choice leads directly into what comes next. Say part 4, when you're ready for the final transformation. Now it's time to turn understanding into real financial action, because awareness without action will never change your situation. The first step is building a realistic and honest budget. Stop guessing your expenses and start tracking actual spending patterns. Look at your last 3 months of financial behavior carefully. You'll quickly notice patterns you never paid attention to before. This simple step alone can completely change your perspective. Next, Include every possible expense, even the smallest ones. Those tiny daily costs often create the biggest financial leaks. Coffee, snacks, and subscriptions quietly drain your monthly income. When you track them, you regain control over your money. Another important step is planning for unexpected expenses always. Life is unpredictable, and your budget must reflect that reality. Add a separate category for emergencies and irregular costs. This protects your budget from collapsing when surprises happen. Now focus on creating flexible spending limits, not rigid restrictions. Give yourself room to enjoy life without guilt or pressure, because extreme restriction always leads to emotional overspending later. Balance is what makes a budget sustainable for the long term. Another powerful habit is reviewing your budget every single week. Regular check-ins help you stay aligned with your financial goals. They also prevent small mistakes from turning into big problems. If something isn't working, adjust it immediately without hesitation. Flexibility keeps your budget alive and effective over time. Also, prioritize your spending based on real-life goals. Ask yourself what truly matters before making any purchase decision. This simple question can prevent countless unnecessary expenses instantly. You begin to spend with intention instead of emotion. And intentional spending builds long-term financial stability naturally. Another key step is separating needs from wants clearly. Needs protect your life while wants shape your lifestyle choices. Confusing the two is one of the biggest budgeting mistakes. When you separate them, your financial clarity improves significantly. Also, avoid comparing your budget with other people's lifestyles. Everyone has different income goals and financial responsibilities. Comparison only creates pressure and leads to poor decisions. Focus on your own progress instead of external standards. Even small improvements are powerful wins worth celebrating. Consistency matters more than perfection in financial management. One good month can set the foundation for lasting change, but discipline must continue even when motivation disappears. That's where real financial growth truly begins to show. Keep your system simple, clear, and easy to maintain. Complicated budgets usually fail because they are hard to follow. Simplicity ensures long-term success and steady financial improvement. Remember, your goal is control, not restriction or stress. Money should support your life, not control your emotions. When you manage it wisely, freedom becomes much easier, and every smart decision brings you closer to stability. You are now building habits that create real financial strength. These small changes will compound into major long-term results, but only if you stay consistent with your new system, because success in budgeting is built step by step, and now you're finally on the right path forward. Let's move to the final step of your transformation journey. Say part 5 inches when you're ready for the conclusion. This is the moment where everything finally comes together for you. You now understand the real reasons budgets fail repeatedly everywhere. You've seen the hidden mistakes most people never even notice, and you've discovered how simple shifts can change everything quickly. But knowledge only matters when you actually apply it consistently. From today, your financial story can start changing in real time. Imagine waking up without constant money stress on your mind. Imagine knowing exactly where every single rupee is going. That level of clarity is completely possible for you now, but it requires discipline, patience, and honest self-awareness every day. Start small, because small steps always lead to big transformations. Don't try to fix everything in just one single day. Instead, improve your habits one decision at a time carefully. Track your spending with honesty, even when it feels uncomfortable, because truth is the foundation of every strong financial system. Stop ignoring expenses that you previously thought were unimportant. Every rupee has a purpose, and every expense tells a story. When you respect money, it starts working better for you. Build a budget that reflects your real lifestyle, not fantasies, because unrealistic plans always collapse under real-world pressure quickly. Give yourself permission to adjust without feeling like a failure. Flexibility is what keeps your financial system alive and strong. Learn from mistakes instead of repeating them month after month. Each mistake is a lesson guiding you toward better decisions. Over time, these lessons create powerful financial awareness and control. You will start noticing improvements in your confidence and mindset. Money will feel less like stress and more like structure, and structure leads to freedom, stability, and long-term peace. Remember, budgeting is not about restriction, but about direction always. You are directing your money toward the life you want. Without direction, even high income can disappear very quickly, unnoticed. With direction, even small income can grow into stability. That is the real power of smart budgeting habits. Stay consistent, even when motivation disappears years during difficult financial moments. Discipline is what separates success from constant financial struggle. Keep reviewing, adjusting, and improving your system regularly every week. Progress may feel slow, but it is always building momentum. One day, you will look back and see transformation clearly. You will realize how far you've come from financial confusion, and you'll appreciate the small steps you took today. Financial freedom is not a dream reserved for others. It is something you can build through consistent, smart actions. You now have the tools and understanding to begin. The only thing left is your decision to act. Will you continue old habits or build a better system? That choice defines your financial future more than anything else. Every great financial journey starts with one honest decision, and that decision begins right here, right now, today. Take control of your budget before it controls you again. Build awareness, build discipline, and build long-term financial confidence. Your money should serve your goals, not create your stress. When managed correctly, it becomes a powerful life tool. Stay committed, stay consistent, and keep improving every single day, because your financial transformation is already within your reach, and now it's time for you to claim it fully.